everyone, this is Mark Ryan, a sophomore student at UP Baguio. This Millennium Fellowship will help us educate on what social concerns should be addressed today. Our competencies will be taught and disseminated through UNI's and SDGs principles in order to have a social effect in our society, and more specifically in our community. It's a joy to meet you everyone in class 2022. See ya!
Hello class of 2022, I am Malati Ngorma from Bangladesh, and currently now I'm studying at Asian University for Women. I'm really excited about this fellowship and the opportunity that has been given to me to work for own community, and I will looking forward to meet all the people all around the world. Thank you so much for this opportunity, MCN. Bye bye.
Congratulations to everyone who has made it. We are finally here. My name is Christiana Fiebo from Ashesi University studying business administration, and I am so excited to be part of this wonderful class of the Millennium Fellowship. I am very grateful to the Millennium Fellowship for granting me the opportunity to also become a Millennium Fellow.
Hello, class of 2022. My name is Samriddhi Chandra and I'm a final year undergraduate student at Christ University, Bangalore. I'm thrilled to be a part of the fellowship this year where I get to meet you all and discuss about all the social problems on a global level. It's time to bring about a change. It's time to practice and not just preach. I hope to see you all around there.
Hello, everyone. It's my pleasure to officially welcome you to the Global Town Hall and to kick off the Millennium Fellowship 2022. My name is Magdalena Offenbeck. I am a Millennium Fellow this year, and I'm a student at Sciences Po University in France. I will be moderating today's ceremony. So welcome to all of our guests, welcome to the organizing team, and of course, welcome to all the Millennium Fellows 2022. Congratulations, guys, we made it. The Millennium Fellowship is, as many of you already know, organized by the Millennium Campus Network, MCN, and the United Nations Academic Impact, UNAI. MCN is a Boston-based global nonprofit helping 21st century leaders like you, Millennium Fellows, to make a positive social impact. Through the Millennium Fellowship and the Oceans Prize, MCN helps young leaders to use their voice and their power to make a difference on their campus and in their communities. The United Nations Academic Impact is an initiative that aligns institutions of higher education with United Nations in supporting and contributing to the realization of United Nations goals and mandates. Since 2010, the United Nations Academic Impact Network has reached more than 25 million people through various initiatives. We now get to be part of this community. Now I would like to pass it on to Sam.
Hi, thank you, Magdalena, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone tuning in around the world. I know some of you are in Australia. It's very early in the morning, so special warm welcome to you. My name is Sam Vagar, he, him, and I'm the co-founder and executive director of Millennium Campus Network, MCN. Welcome to this global town hall. 15 years ago in our Brandeis University dorm rooms, a friend and I co-founded MCN as a platform for undergraduates making a difference. In 2013, we launched the Millennium Fellowship. This program provides training, connections, and credentials to university undergraduates advancing the SDGs. In 2018, we commenced our partnership with the United Nations Academic Impact to present the Millennium Fellowship together. As a result, this program has grown globally. This year, there was a record-breaking 31,397 applicants from over 2,400 campuses worldwide. We will jointly announce the entire class of 2022 on August 17th, but I can confirm today that the class of 2022 includes over 3,000 Millennium Fellows at 200 universities in more than 36 countries. Welcome to each and every one of you. Between now and the end of November, each of you will meet 6 times with your campus cohorts, sharing your work and learning from each other's leadership. You'll be invited to webinars with leaders from across the United Nations system, from the Gates Foundation, and more social impact leaders to explore the myriad pathways to a social impact career. And most importantly, you will take action, in many cases locally where you are, to positively contribute and advance the SDGs. Our team will share the article I wrote for International Youth Day with you. In it, I reflect on the history of this day. 24 years ago, world leaders met in Lisbon, Portugal, and passed a resolution that the UN then endorsed a year later and launched to create this day. As I shared in the article, International Youth Day is not just a celebration. It is a bellwether, a telescope to see the future through the lens of people not yet jaded by cynicism. And there are plenty of reasons to be cynical. As we meet, there are wars, a pandemic, discriminatory practices, and increasing levels of distrust of institutions. You are tuning in live in many geographies and contexts. Some of you are living in conflict zones, some of you are refugees, and many are feeling the pressures of a volatile world. What gives me hope personally is knowing that we have found each other. 3,000 of you in the Millennium Fellowship Class of 2022 have made a bold declaration of intent to contribute in ways big and small to advance the SDGs. You are bold, courageous, and visionary. Those attributes are essential. This time in our world compels us to lean into difficult challenges. Each of our families, friends, campuses, and communities need your empathy, your humility, your collaboration for a more just, equitable world. We need to support each other, and we need to call out discrimination and oppression as it unfolds, not just on social media, but in our daily lives. This month, you will get access to the fellowship portal. I encourage you to reach out to another Millennium Fellow that inspires you and find a time to meet virtually. You could be sparking a new friendship, and perhaps in some cases, you will even partner on your fellowship projects together. There is immense power in partnership. And speaking of partnership, I want to tell you all, we cannot do what we do at MCN without our indefatigable partner on the Millennium Fellowship, the United Nations Academic Impact. The United Nations Academic Impact is a network of more than 1,500 academic institutions supporting UN goals. While there are many important entities in the UN system, this one is my favorite. We are in our 5th year of partnership together on the Millennium Fellowship, and I'm excited for you to meet some of their team in webinars this semester. To kick things off today, I'm honored to welcome Dr. Omar Hernandez, who is a public information officer at the UN and is the program manager of the United Nations Academic Impact. Omar, the floor is yours. Welcome.
Muchas gracias, Sam. Thank you very much indeed to you and MCN. And of course, warm welcome to all the Millennium Fellows that are gathered here from all around the world. It's truly a privilege to be able to address you on behalf of the United Nations Academic Impact and also on behalf of the United Nations. It is quite important for us, particularly in challenging times like the ones we are all witnessing, to have these kind of encounters, but also to remind ourselves about the role we all have to address the global challenges, but also not only to address and understand them and talk about them, but to act. And I like what you were saying about inspiring others, but more importantly, what would we do with that inspiration? Inspiration in itself is important, but what we do when we are inspired, what we do when we are empowered, what we do when we know what's going on, what we do with that knowledge, with that expertise, and with that innovation and creativity and passion, that is the most relevant thing. Because all around the world, we are having pretty much the same problems with different degrees of vulnerability, with several degrees of severity. But we cannot deny that the global challenges that the UN is addressing from different angles of perspective are affecting currently, as we speak, pretty much everybody on these calls. But most importantly, people that do not have the voice, that do not have the privilege to study in a university, that has been left behind. And precisely the motto of the UN and the idea behind the Sustainable Development Goals and the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development that make a specific reference to academia and youth. The idea is to leave no one behind. And all the successes that were achieved prior to the global 19 pandemic, well, these successes has suffered a severe drawback. And it is in this time of this kind of crisis when we see an opportunity. And although this might be seen as a cliche, it's an actual fact. We have to see how we can build back better. We have to see that the way we used to be was not serving the purpose of mankind. We need to see this as an opportunity to come up with new solutions, with new ideas. And I have seen firsthand from the UN academic impact how students, both at the undergraduate and graduate levels, in all the universities and colleges that are part of our network around the world, have been doing tremendous things to advocate for the SDGs, to help the poor, to help the migrants and refugees, to collaborate in meaningful research projects, to engage with the community and societies, to engage with local stakeholders, local governments, civil society organizations, and so on. So I have seen that firsthand, not only from the UN academic impact perspective, but I also had the privilege to be a professor for 16 years. And I saw the tremendous work of my students and others in many universities, primarily in my country. So it is not a theory that the future of mankind lies in the hands and shoulders of youth and students. So it is quite fortunate coincidence to be having this town hall while we are celebrating around the world. Unfortunately, I am not young anymore, I would say, but certainly it's a privilege. I feel young and inspired to be here with all of you and to see. It's absolutely wonderful to see the messages on the chat box of people pointing out their flags and where their countries are. And this is the true value of the United Nations. In addition to the bureaucracy and the administrative structure that we have, the idea that if we read the UN Charter, there are two things that are important and they're quite relevant for this town hall in particular. First, that the UN is a center for harmonizing the actions of international society and the international community to address global challenges. That actually appears as such in Article 1.1 of the United Nations Charter. And by the way, the UN Day is just around the corner on 24th October. But also, the preamble of the United Nations Charter says we the peoples of the United Nations. It doesn't say we the governments. It doesn't say we the presidents and prime ministers. It says we the peoples. And who are these people? Well, all of us are these people. So the values and ideals of the United Nations and the values and principles of the United Nations academic impact are your values. Because the idea is that we use this intellectual, social capital. We use these resources, these mental resources that we all have, this knowledge, and come together to help the governments, help civil society. Because SDGs, although they were adopted by member states of the United Nations, and the primary responsibility lies in member states themselves, of course, we all have a responsibility, and every single thing you do and every single thing we do makes a significant and meaningful contribution to the advancement of the Sustainable Development Goals. So I am looking forward to seeing more about your projects, your ideas that you're going to undertake or are currently undertaking under the leadership of our great partner, the Millennium Campus Network. And we are very fortunate and very glad to have this partnership with you. And we are more than happy and ready to assist you and support you to the best of our abilities. And I am more than happy to be connected with the students. And please do not hesitate to reach out to me and to the UN Academic Impact to see how we together can make this a better world for us and for those that are coming behind us. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much, Sam Varga and Omar Hernandez. At this point, I would also like to thank the entire team of NCN and UNAI. It's really a dream come true for many of us to become part of this next class of Millennium Fellows. So thank you for offering young and motivated individuals a platform to grow as leaders and to amplify their social impact, or to use the words of Omar, to serve the purpose of humankind. Also, everybody, please make sure to follow the follow MCN Partners and Impact UN on social media. You'll find them on most platforms to stay up to date on any news and any social impact. I would now, or shortly, like to welcome Aline Uzoigwe, who will be performing her poem, Hope is Healing.
My name is Darlene Usoigwe. I'm a Millennium Fellow at Harvard University, and I am so honored to speak here today. I congratulate you all on your acceptances. As we pursue wellness and change lives, I ask that you bear these words in mind. I present to you my poem, Hope is Healing. What do I call hope? She's magic nestled in the hearts of mortal men, a warden out of deserts of despair, parched tongues turned towards holy nectar, a divine rejecter of the voices of the deep. Do you recognize her? She's here, beaming into the darkness of the death and disease that have filled our screens for the past 2 years. In the streets, blood and tears run together, and it's unclear which will finish first. A sickening bread and butter of this new earth, yes. 2020, we woke up to a world of mourning, but on this morning, under this sun, the voice of hope rings out clearly on the street, and she bears the face of each and every single one of us. Why? Looking at chaos in the face, we choose to make a change, to lay down our lament and pick up our swords and charge, hearts bleeding for the worlds to see. We choose to believe, to cradle this healing in our hearts and know it well. I call it sacred. Although life threatens to take the ground from underneath our feet, we understand that the wounds and worries we carry marinate in complacency. Instead, we stand up and trust that we will catch each other when we fall. In that trust, in that hope for that which is yet unseen, the truth of life leads. Hope is the companion of power. Without her, adversity puckers its lips to blow, then devours. Sometimes you think you want to disappear, but all you want to do is be found. So I implore you, one thing, hope and hope again. It is our legacy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Darlene. That was absolutely beautiful. We'll now return back to Sam, who has a few words for us about the theme of today's town hall.
Thank you, Darlene. Thank you, Magdalena. That was so moving. Really, that was incredible. And as we thought about how to spend our time together at this town hall, we reflected on a couple of themes, but we really wanted to center this conversation. We thought about the volatility in our world. It has impacted all of us in different ways, but it magnified one point. Each of us matters. As our MCN alum Adam powerfully reminded our team earlier this week, to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, we need to start with the sustainable development of ourselves. I'll repeat that. To achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, we need to start with the sustainable development of ourselves. And so we want you to know we care about you not just as a leader, but as a human being. Please know that we are here to support you if and whenever we can be helpful. At this point, I do want to share a content warning. We recognize that discussing aspects of self-care, of mental health, may be triggering. And so I acknowledge that it may be difficult to engage with this content. And I also encourage you to care for your safety and well-being first and foremost. So please feel welcome to mute or exit this section of the town hall at any point and tune in again at about 10:50 in about 30 minutes for the next section of our town hall. And at that point, also a very special announcement, which we're looking forward to sharing. If you have any concerns about encountering anything specific with the mental health content discussed today, please reach out to our team directly at fellowship@mcnpartners.org, or you can private message me directly here. And we'll do all we can to be supportive and help connect to resources. I think it's incumbent as well that I just take a moment to acknowledge we asked all of you in the RSVP form to reflect on, we asked very openly if anyone was passionate about self-care, about mental health, and just wanted to share a couple of words of insight, reflection, and hope. More than 500 of you shared a response. It was incredibly moving to read and review each of those. I want to just then open up, before we dive in, we're going to have a dialogue with 5 Millennium Fellows, 2 alums of the Millennium Fellowship, and 3 Millennium Fellows just like you in the class of 2022. Before we go to that, we have 2 special video messages from leaders at the World Health Organization and the organization United for Global Mental Health. They had messages they wanted to share with all of you, Millennium Fellows, on this theme. So I want to turn the floor over to them.
Hello, my name is Deborah Kestel. I'm the director of the Department of Mental Health and Substance Use at the World Health Organization. Thank you to the Millennium Campus Network and the United Nations Academic Impact for the invitations to join you. I understand the selection among the Millennium Fellows is tough, and so congratulations to those that made it today. You know, mental health and psychosocial well-being and development are essential for fulfilling the human potential and the rights of people, young people everywhere. Nevertheless, every year and in every country, the lives of millions of young people are limited by poor mental health. While mental health concerns affecting youth are not new, the impact of the pandemic has exposed their extent and severity, highlighting the need to invest and act now. 1 in 7 of the world's young people experience a mental disorder, and suicide is the 4th leading cause of death among 15 to 19 years old. And yet, young people are not getting the support and services that they need. Governments and societies are investing far too little in mental health of young people and their caregivers. Increased awareness of the importance of optimizing mental health trajectories for youth and the inclusion of mental health in the Sustainable Development Goals have created strategic opportunities to act. So let me highlight 3 key actions that you, as Millennium Fellow, can contribute to take forward. First, take care of your mental health and share tips and resources with other young people. Everyone experiences stress and copes with it differently. You may notice changes when you feel irritability or more or less anxious or difficulty sleeping. You may feel exhausted more often and more than usual, or it may be harder to relax during respite periods. Talking to family members or other trusted adults can help. Stay connected and maintain your social networks. Maintain a healthy lifestyle, including proper diet, sleep, and exercise. Continue doing things you have always enjoyed, even when you don't feel like it. Relaxation exercises may help you reduce stress and anxiety and improve your sleep. And don't use smoking, alcohol, or other drugs to deal with your emotions. Second, COVID-19 pandemic has increased awareness of youth mental health needs, promoted destigmatization of mental health, and advanced mental health innovations. Youth have been at the forefront of this change. You, as Millennium Fellow, are in a privileged position to drive and amplify this change in your reality by advocating for increased countries' investment in youth mental health services to ensure that every young person is able to access age-appropriate mental health care in their community. And third, in addition to services strengthening youth mental health, requires that the environment in schools, communities, and in the workplace value diversity and promote a sense of belonging and equal opportunities. In your role as a social impact and change leader, you can take the empowerment and participation of marginalized youth, including youth from ethnic and gender sexual minorities, youth with disabilities, and migrants, to make that inclusion a priority, promoting their involvement in shaping solutions for everybody. I thank you again for this opportunity.
Hi, my name is Sarah Klein from United for Global Mental Health. I'm really delighted to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me. Most of all, I want to say congratulations. Congratulations to all the Millennium Fellows. It's wonderful that you've been selected. It obviously means a great deal to you, but also it'll be such an accolade for all of those around you who've been supporting you to get this far. But I think you've been chosen because of your commitment, because of your talent, because of your ability, and because of your passion about your community and what you want to achieve. And that is absolutely fantastic. I was asked to talk about mental health because it's something that affects everyone. We all have good, bad mental health, as well as physical health. We have periods where we feel down, we have periods where we might feel stressed. But for some people, it is more than that, and it's something that really impacts their quality of their life. So around 50% of mental health conditions begin before the age of 14 and 75% before the age of 24. So you will be coming into contact with people whose mental health is challenging and may need support. I think the first thing to say is listen, be empathetic, let people talk and be non-judgmental. Most important is to listen. And then don't try to fix it for yourself. The idea is that you should try and signpost people to information where they can find out for themselves what they can do and how they can take forward their own care. There are lots of sources that you will find to support people with their mental health. You're very welcome to go onto our website, unitedgmh.org, or alternatively to look for others. But there is resource out there for people, and it is possible to support people. But don't try and think you can fix it yourself. It's a lot to take on, and supporting people's mental health takes a lot of energy and resource. So seek support, seek help, and do it with others. Beyond the support that you may be giving to individuals and the people that you will come into contact with over the course of your life, you will also have the opportunity through your projects and your programs, your communities, to make a huge difference. And that's absolutely brilliant. So when you're working with your communities, know that mental health really is important and that it's the attitudes and beliefs of communities that can really impact people's mental health. So be aware of what may be stigma or discrimination in a community setting, ways in which people don't feel included or supported, or the impacts of social media, for good or bad, in terms of how people feel and what they feel is being reflected around mental health in social media. We work a lot on rights, on trying to ensure that people with a mental health condition have access to the same rights to a job, to get married, have a family as anyone else. We work to try and decriminalize suicide. There are countries where suicide is a crime. That obviously prevents people from coming forward and seeking support when they should. And so really it's a failure in the system that needs to be addressed. We work to try and get more money into mental health, to support people's mental health in terms of prevention, but diagnosis, treatment where they need it. And we want that money as far as possible to be spent at community level with peer-to-peer support, with access to services and support where people live. We work on services, making sure that mental health is treated as importantly as physical health. And then, of course, we work on education, trying to reduce stigma and discrimination, and trying to share knowledge. We'd love you to get involved. Again, our website is unitedgmh.org. Please look for more information there. Thank you.
Wonderful. And with that, as I mentioned again, at any point, and now or at any point in the conversation, please feel welcome to mute or exit if need be. We will be making a special announcement in the next section in about 20-25 minutes. But at this point, we have 5 extraordinary young leaders from across this global network who are dedicated leaders on self-care and working at the nexus of youth and mental health. So to moderate this, I turn it over to Dr. Abigail Canales. Abigail, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Sam. Well, hi, Millennium Fellows. First of all, congratulations to every one of you. I was also a Millennium Fellow at 2018, Now I am a medical doctor and also part of Team MCN as partnerships manager. I just want you to let you know that being part of this huge community will give you a safe place, a warm community, a family. Thank you so much for wanting to joining us for this special event and also for this special semester that we will be here to support you, to be there for you, and anytime you need anything, we will be there for you. I'm so glad and so honored to be here with every single person that is here on the town hall. Thank you so much for being part of this movement, of this social change, and please also take care of yourself. You matter, and you will always be so wonderful to us. So I'll be also super honored to introduce you to our two incredible, amazing alums and three current fellows. First, I'd love to introduce to Arushi Kataria. Are you there, Arushi?
Hello everyone, I'm Arushi Kataria. I'm the founder of Let Us Strangers Plus India. We're the India chapter of Let Us Strangers, which is a global organization that hopes to destigmatize mental health and start conversations around it, as well as increase access to affordable and quality medical healthcare for mental health. We've been working for the last 3 years in India. We've been luckily able to help over 30,000 people get their stories heard. We primarily work through the means of letters, where we pair up strangers and allow them to share their stories with one another. At the end of the day, our goal has been to create a safe space where people can be vulnerable, where they're able to foster empathy, and where they're able to come and share a piece of their story without getting judged for it. This is really important when we talk about self-care, because when we are struggling with issues, sometimes the hardest part is putting it down on paper because they're so ambiguous, so amorphous. But when we write them down on paper, there's a lot more clarity to what we're thinking about. And that's the medium that we're using art, using writing as a medium of self-care. Something that we've heard time and again is that people were struggling with issues, especially during the first wave of coronavirus, and they were dealing with large-scale losses in their families and close friend circles. And it was this method and medium of writing letters that really allowed them to deal with this loss, to be able to put it down into words and then constructively move forward from it. So that's where we derive our strength, from words, because words are powerlessly powerful, and it's up to us to use them well, and letters give us the opportunity to do that. Secondly, there's immense power that comes from listening to somebody else. It fosters our own empathy. It allows us to put ourselves in somebody else's shoes. It gives us time and space to be able to be there for another person. It creates a community where there is at least one other person here who's listening to you, who's there for you, and who's going to be there for you over a long course of time. We've noticed people who started talking to each other in 2019 are still talking to each other towards the end of 2022. We fostered friendships that started with anonymous exchanges and have now blossomed into full-blown friendships. We've had people convince people who were scared of taking the first step to probably move towards something like going to therapy, and have now moved into it. However, as a larger goal for Let Us Strangers, we also recognize that mental health is a conversation and a problem that plagues not just those who look like us, but also those who belong to lower socioeconomic statuses. And that's why we've been working extensively with Let Us Strangers Global to come up with a mental health curriculum that can be applied in India and taught to school students across India, and to start conversations at a young age. We did a pilot program back in 2021 with a school in Hyderabad in India, where we worked with students from an underprivileged background and taught them mental health basics 101. And the feedback that we got was extremely heartening, because for the first time they were able to put a name to their problems. They were able to find ways on how to look after themselves when these problems presented themselves. Something that we heard over and over again with people who were working with different organizations, and when they came to us, was that it was only when they recognized that they weren't looking after themselves, they were feeling burnt out while doing work of advocacy, that we realized that it's also important to put forward one more message. And that message is that while we work in spaces of advocacy where we're trying to put others' needs over our own, it's also important that at the end of the day, we remember that in this huge long list of people that we care about, the people that we're working towards, we can only do the work that we're doing if we're not burnt out. And for that, it's important that we don't forget to put ourselves on that list. And I think as we talk about self-care on the International Youth Day, it's important that the one message I would like all the fellows who are here, who are going to be working tirelessly over the next semester on fulfilling their goals, would be that don't forget to put yourself on that list. Thank you.
And I'm also glad to introduce three of wonderful 2022 fellows. At first, I would love to introduce Tuhit Tafar. So she's a rising senior at Baylor University, where she pursues paramedical studies as a university scholars major with minors in medical humanities and sociology. Ruhi is a long-time volunteer with the Dropout Prevention Program Communities in Schools, and she is passionate about her nonprofit collegiate foundations, where she works towards bringing educational disparities, informed by her work and her time with the United States Congress. Ruhi hopes to serve patients and communities in the future as a compassionate healthcare provider who informs health policy and advocates for positive change through health journalism. So welcome. You have the floor now, Ruhi, and thank you so much for being here with us together.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the introduction. So my name is Ruhi. I'm a new Millennium Fellow in this cohort from Baylor University in Texas. And I am so excited to be here today. Thank you to everyone who organized this event and chose such an important topic. So I wanted to start off with my experience and what I have learned about this topic. In creating social impact with my nonprofit Collegiate Foundations, we have a mentorship program and a computer donation program for disadvantaged high school students. And through the fellowship, we are hoping to expand our services and scope to homeless youth and create a wider social impact to bridge educational inequities. And in this experience, I've had the absolute privilege of serving my community. And I've learned how important it is to focus on cultivating self-love within ourselves in order to truly give freely to others. I believe it is important to honor both our weaknesses and our strengths, even if we don't fit exactly what we perceive society wants from us. So from a personal point of view, growing up, I was never very good at focusing in school. There were always a million different ideas and thoughts bouncing in my head. And I always viewed this as such a weakness. But by viewing it as a weakness, I was undermining the uniqueness of who I am and was just trying to fit myself into a mold that I thought I needed to fit in order to be successful. But that creativity is what helped me with my nonprofit Collegiate Foundations. It helped sustain me through the hard things, helped me problem solve, especially with the pandemic and all the obstacles we faced starting out. And I know that your story and your struggles will be so different from mine, but investing the time to love yourself and embrace what makes you different will allow you to wield your gifts better and make you better in service to others. So on imposter syndrome, that feeling that you are not enough is natural, and it comes up in these sorts of projects where there's so much you want to achieve. Imposter syndrome is natural, especially at the beginning. You might be questioning the possibility of all your dreams and aspirations. And I really think we all put so much pressure on ourselves to be perfect. And then we just retreat because we feel like we can't reach that level of perfection. Sometimes we let our doubts tether us to the ground, and we can't control how we feel, but trying to deny those feelings would be doing a disservice to ourselves and those that we serve. How we cope with those feelings matters. And I think community, your friends, your family, the community in this fellowship is so important. So a big part of self-care to me is asking for help and existing in community. It's not just up to us to heal ourselves and to know ourselves. You can know yourselves better through relationships with others. I've always had the most difficult time asking for help. I don't know if it's the Sagittarius in me, but it's always been a struggle for me. But especially when you're starting off an initiative, and even when you're years down the road, an obstacle that seems insurmountable can be made possible working together with others. So if you have this crazy idea that you think is impossible, you might be right. It's impossible to make the idea a reality on your own. But think about what could happen if you add people to your idea, if you let them in, if you let them bring their talents and their strengths, which are different from yours, and you bring those together and build a community. That community will create a solid foundation for your project, and those people will also serve as your support system and help you take care of yourself better while also making your dream a reality. I'm so grateful to have this with my cohort at Baylor, who each bring such unique talents to our team. And I'm so excited to see the relationships all of you will build with your cohorts on your campuses and how you will uplift each other in service to your communities. Those are just some words I wanted to share. I am so inspired by all of you, and I wish you the best of luck with your projects. I'm going to pass it over to Pragya for her to share her thoughts and her experiences.
Ruhi, thank you so much. That was so inspiring as well, and so important. That's why also we love to focus our social impact on empathy, humility, and inclusion. So thank you so much for these powerful words and also your amazing leadership. Now to introduce to Pragya Patel. She is at Symbiosis International at India. Also part of this lovely class of 2022. So Pragya, if you have also something to share with us, the floor is yours. Welcome.
Thank you, first of all, Abigail, for introducing me today. I would like to start with a poem that I wrote today morning. So yeah. Dear Einstein, I promise you're fine. If not 10, you are probably 9. If not you, then who? Inadequate, unworthy, undeserving. Dear, that's not you. Even Einstein had imposter syndrome. Can you imagine? Hello, everyone. I am Pragya Patel, a penultimate year student at Symbiosis Law School, Noida. When I was invited to speak on mental health and imposter syndrome, the first thought that came to my mind was that I'm the perfect person to talk about it. The irony is funny, isn't it? I fit in to talk about the feelings of how I don't fit in. I'm sure most of us who dream big have gone through debilitating moments of self-doubt at some point in our lives. Anyways, I want to talk about my journey today and how getting over the imposter image in my head helped me reach where I am, among 3,000 Millennium Fellows. When I applied in 2020, I reached till stage of campus director, and I thought to myself, oh, how did I reach here? How did I clear the first round, then the second round? Was it that easy? Did I just get lucky? I manifested my self-doubt and projected my fears. So I clearly didn't make it that time. However, being passionate about our project helped us. We worked on ourselves, our application, and seek support and guidance because we realized that we deserved it. Our project deserves recognition, and we deserve a chance to contribute to change. And here we are today. My dear fellows, I know sometimes looking at grand scheme of things, we tend to forget that we all carry context within us. And to doubt yourself and your place in the world is to doubt your context. I'm so glad to be sitting among you all, as I now know that I deserve every bit of it. The selection, the support from my teachers, all the guidance and resources to execute my plan. It makes me so proud that so many people saw so much potential and worth in me and my team. I think the biggest way to promote inclusivity is through empathy, by giving people benefit of doubt. And you can only be empathetic to others when you learn to be empathetic to yourself. So let's not doubt our self-worth anymore. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Now, I would like to call upon Nitambi Singh to share her views. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pragya. That was beautiful as well. I love also to introduce to Dax Matella is a student majoring in computer science at the University of Witwatersrand at Johannesburg. Her interest in the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals picked up after participating in the 2019 MIT Global Startups Labs, where her team developed a solution to the national energy crisis on a micro level using an Internet of Things device. She is a member of the FN Bacha cohort at Nelson Mandela's Children Fund and volunteers at UNICEF. Under Saya, she serves the Youth Coordinator and member of the Youth Policy Committee. Recently, she was elected as an Africa Climate Alliance ambassador, and she has contributed to the UCT newsletter, the co-creator, and was a panelist at the UNEP Africa Youth Environment webinar. Thank you so much for joining us today. And please take the floor, it's yours, and welcome.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ntabi Singh Mamadlela, and I am a Millennium Fellow of this year from South Africa. It is so exciting to be part of this new cohort of young leaders who are passionate about driving change in their community. I share the very sentiment that was shared by our previous speakers on partnership and togetherness, and would like to bring about this isiZulu phrase called Ubuntu, which roughly translates to "you are because we are." It speaks about the sense of community and how we are all dependent on each other in the society. And as mentioned earlier, you cannot solve a lot of problems in the world without starting with yourself. Bringing self-love in yourself and never doubting yourself is very important. And with this, I would like to stress the importance of building a sense of community around yourself. Having a support structure or support system is very important, because when you go out there, it's so easy to lose yourself and forget about your needs. But by having a support structure, whether that's with your friends or family or with even your neighbors, just having someone to go to when you are troubled or just to vent out is very important. And I really want to stress that with you all. I also noted how it was, brought up, how everyone was just speaking about what they do as a form of self-care. And I was so delighted to see people mentioning going outside and taking a walk, doing yoga, journaling, and just getting all that is in your mind out there. And it was so lovely to see, because then it assures me that a lot of you have a sense of mindfulness. Being mindful is very important, because in the early days of the pandemic, we were all just so stressed out and we wanted to escape from what was happening around us. This has resulted in us doom scrolling on social media, or just being overreactive in a sense, absorbing everything and not having a sense of clarity or sense of direction, which is totally normal at this young age. But it's so important for you guys to be mindful, or to have us to collect your senses and being aware of your surroundings. But because of you guys that are here and wanting to make a change in the world, I know that you are self-aware. You are aware of the issues in your community and the world at large, and you're ready to make that impact. And I'm so excited to see what comes out of it. Myself, I will be working on an ecosystem restoration project in Johannesburg, in the city of Johannesburg, where we will halt and reverse the degradation of wetlands, because we see them as these natural sponges that can help build resilience in communities that face flooding. And I think that this could really help add to the nature-based solutions in our country. I am so excited to meet all of you once again, and thank you so much to Millennium Fellowship for providing me with this platform, and to all the speakers that came before me, just re-emphasizing the importance of partnership, collaboration, and taking care of yourself. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. That was so inspirational as well. And congratulations on all of your amazing work, all of you. Now we have a great surprise. We are calling now to Ms. Rashid. She is a counseling psychologist and mediator specializing in peace building and trauma healing, centering her work on trauma-informed resilience for the community building. Aiming to the recent conflict and violence in her community, she is the founder and executive director of Nivishe Foundation, whose main objective is building community resilience using trauma-informed programs for peaceful social cohesion to her community by creating safe spaces and offering psychosocial support to victims of violence. I know this is a longer conversation to carry on. We will have longer conversations during our global webinars, so please stay tuned. And Amisa, thank you so much for joining us today. The floor is all yours.
Thank you, Abigail, and thank you for all the participants joining in. My name is Amisa Rashid. I'm glad to be here. Apologies for any inconveniences because I was supposed to join in earlier on, but I had some technical issues. From Abigail's introduction, I'm a counseling psychologist. I'm also a student. I'm also so my name is Amisa Rashid. I run Nivishe Foundation here in Kenya. Nivishe Foundation, we basically focus on mental health, community-based mental health interventions, innovations, and different aspects of just integrating mental health in our day-to-day work. And one thing that came up from the conversation from the Millennium Fellows of 2020 and the alums was the aspect of taking care of our mental health and self-care, and also touching the aspect of imposter syndrome. And one thing that I wanted to share is that personally, I have gone through I have a lot of awards on my name. I have a lot of fellowship on my name, but even where I am at the moment with my organization, the work that we do around mental health, I still get some challenges when it comes to having imposter syndrome. And sometimes I feel like, okay, I don't deserve this award because I haven't put in that much effort, or I feel like I don't, even a fellowship like this, maybe somebody outside there is feeling that they don't deserve this fellowship because maybe it's just by luck, not knowing that you put in the effort and you actually deserve to be here and interacting with other global leaders and trying to make the world a better place. So imposter syndrome is common among us youth, but the most important thing about imposter syndrome is identifying and not letting it affect you or how you're working with. And one aspect of looking into imposter syndrome is actually having a support system, even mentors, even friends who can be able to, when you're feeling that you don't deserve an opportunity, you have people who can tell you, listen, look, you deserve this because this and this and this, you've got this and this, there is evidence to support you. So you need like a good support system to let you know that you deserve that opportunity and not let it affect you. And when it comes to mental health is a broad subject, and I'm glad that Millennium MCN is just looking into how they can integrate further mental health conversation into their programs, whereby we can be able to learn how we can take care of our mental health and actually specialize mental health depending on the community that you're working with, because mental health is such a wide topic, and each community that we're interacting with, each country that we are from, faces different challenges when it comes to mental health. So how can we be able to support you guys with your mental health while you're supporting your community? Because you can't pour from an empty cup. So we need to feel you, to support you, to support you psychosocially, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, but at the same time, so that you can be able to give back to your community. So I'm hoping that with Abigail, this won't be the last time that I'm interacting with the fellows. I'm looking forward to having greater conversation around mental health, looking deeper into imposter syndrome. How can we look into it? How can we make sure that we are living healthily while prioritizing our mental health? So thank you for the invite, and I'm looking forward to more interactions. Back to you, Abigail.
We have Stephen Fox from the Rema Family Foundation, who will be introducing the winner of this year's Millennium Oceans Prize. Now in its 8th year, the Ocean Prize celebrates undergraduates running an initiative or project that advances SDG 14 and protects our oceans. Welcome, Mr. Fox, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Magdalena. And hello, everyone. My name, as Magdalena says, Stephen Fox. I'm a trustee of the Rema Family Foundation, and I am pumped up to be introducing this year's Millennium Ocean Prize winner and runner-up. 8 years ago, this prize started as a niche. The first prize was given even before SDG 14 existed. Today, we celebrate another record-breaking year for the Oceans Prize in the quality and quantity of the applicants as the world wakes up to another day of all of you clamoring to protect our environment and our ocean. Keep it up. Let old fogies like me know about the issues, but more so speak to the progress of the hard work that you all are putting in every day for our planet and people. To that end, I'd like to dive in and introduce to share their vision 2 sets of incredible folks as both runner-up and winner of this year's prize. I hope you'll all consider joining their campaigns. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to your runner-up for the Millennium Oceans Prize, Indira Isagira from Federal University of Pará in Brazil, and her campaign, Mangrove Observatory. Indira, congratulations, and let's hear from you.
Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. I'm so glad to be here. I'm so excited to be Ocean Prize runner-up. Thank you so very much for all. I am Indira Isagira. I'm from Peru, and currently I'm living in Pará, in Brazil. I'm living in the largest continuous range of mangroves in the world. And the lake access to knowledge about sustainability in traditional communities, mainly in Brazilian Amazonian mangroves, and the lack of systematic information are the big problem, are the big gaps. And information based on traditional and scientific knowledge. So, with the first mangrove observatory in South America, I want to be a voice of the mangrove ecosystem services together with traditional communities. I want to show the mangrove importance for ocean decay and sustainable development worldwide. This year, I will start the Mangrove Observatory based on science, communication, and education through 3 actions. One, the first action is citizen science with community researchers based on community-based monitoring of SDG 14 and its targets, for example, marine resource use, blue economy index, disaster local observation, and others. And to action is community journalists with mangrove reporters that will be traditional people young to be the voice of the mangroves and their population and their knowledge with marine stories, telling climate stories. And finally, communication through popularization of sustainable development goals. Science, ocean, and climate change literacy is the base. Education is the base for all. Through social media with virtual and presential campaign based on civic innovation, and it's all. I'm so very, very happy. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Indira. Congratulations again. And now, I won't keep all of you on pins and needles. I know you're waiting with bated breath. I'd like to introduce your Millennium Oceans Prize winner for 2022 from Lagos State University in Nigeria, Akanbe Udam and Dawudu Farid. Congratulations on your campaign, Lagos Plastic Revolution. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Stephen Fox. We're indeed glad. We are super excited right now. I have all the team members on ground. We have Adine Kombadari as well as Adiwali Adibola and Nkwo Precious. Thank you so much. Indeed, we had this vision as a result of the constant effect of plastics on fishes in our communities. As our university is situated around a coastal community in which we see a lot of plastic pollution, plastic being dumped into the water bodies. And so that is what inspired our action towards this. And this year, we look forward to intensifying our campaign. We also intend to upscale the transformation of plastics to viable materials swiftly. as well as meet with mentors that will give us guidance that will lead to actualization of our goals and the advancement of SDG 14. Thank you so much.
Incredible. Thank you. Back to you, Team MCN. Everybody join these campaigns and get deeper into the oceans. Come on.
Okay, so Millennium Fellows, thank you so much. We were honored to have you today. You will be hearing us for more updates between the two next weeks. Please keep following on your portal where we will be sharing also the resources. We will be also announcing every update until there. And also don't forget to follow us on social media and start connecting with the community. We were so honored to have you here. Welcome to the family.
So thank you everybody for joining this town hall. We've had some amazing voices, and I cannot speak for my Millennium Fellow peers, but I am even more excited for the upcoming months and what the program is going to bring us. So I hope you enjoyed the ceremony and see you in the Zoom. Thank you so much.